Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren. We've got a World Cup happening tomorrow. Crazy times, very exciting. But despite all that, we've still got all our local leagues happening. So let's have a chat about that. We've got a cavalcade of guests across all our leagues tonight. We're going to start with the NPL, and we've got Scott Macnicol with us. G'day, Scott.
Hey, mate, how are you?
Good. Now, you were the technical director at Rochedale for what seemed like yonks. Now you're back in the saddle and things are going great. How does it feel to be back at the bench?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, I haven't done it for the last 3 years when I stepped away. So I had 5 years at it and then finished in 2019 and then just done the full-time TD role. And then, just back in after round 7 or 8, I think it was, when Ross resigned, I sort of stepped back in. So, no, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I have, to be honest, but it's busy with the TD role as well. But, no, it's a good little group we've got there and it's a good club. And obviously, I've done it before and enjoying it again and boys are going well. So it makes it easier when the boys are going well too.
So you've retained the TD role as well, have you?
Yeah, I've just sort of filled in for the head coach role. So we sort of didn't want to go outside. It was when Ross resigned, it was quite quick. And then we sort of just decided that I'd just step into the role and I know the boys that are there. And so just work through. I think we've got 5 games to go. So we're pretty happy with where we are at the minute. So it's good.
Right. So does this mean you're interim coach?
Yeah. We haven't really decided what we're doing for the future. So, but like I said, it's been busy, but it's been good and everyone at the club's helped in. So, no, it's going well.
Tell me about being a TD at a club. You, like every time we see you or talk to you during a game, you interrupt after a couple of seconds to say, oh, great kick, oh, good pass, or something like that. You're fully invested in the game that you're watching.
Look, I love watching the seniors as well and coaching at the club previously with the first team. Obviously, I still like to be involved in the senior setup. So I help with a little bit in the seniors, like more just helping sign players and bringing players into the club, but sort of let the coach do their own thing. And then, I'm really a Rochedale supporter as well, so I love watching the games and getting out to as many senior games as I can. Obviously, when I can't get there, I don't get there. But, I enjoyed just watching for the last couple of years. And like I said, with going back on the hot seat the last 3-4 months has been enjoyable. But, so it's always hard when you're just watching and, you see things and you enjoy it. And like anyone else in there, you've got an opinion and, but I love watching it as well. And people always come up and have a chat with you. But I enjoyed watching the games as well for the last few years.
So when you took over, was it a little tweak that you made to the squad? Was it a change in formation? Was it a mindset thing? Can you put down what reversed the club's change in fortunes?
Look, to be fair, I think like those last couple of games, we were really close. I think we lost 1-0 to Raw away, which could have gone either way. And then I think they lost 2-1 to Power, which again could have gone either way. So to be fair, the boys were pretty close. So if they'd gone and the other way and they'd won those close games, then they would have been on a high, after winning a couple of close ones. But the little things went against them, I think. And then, we changed a couple of little things more with the formation, but the key personnel was still there. And I think that, a bit of confidence as well with winning. It's always hard when you're losing those tight games. I think the boys sort of always just thought that it was going to be close games and they might not get.
Right. You just might have cut out a little bit at the end there, but we think we pretty much caught what you said there. Now, after being in the relegation positions for majority of the season, you're now in 6th place, 2 points out of the top 4. It's a crazy reversal in form. Are you talking semi-finals amongst the team now?
No, we've just been talking one game at a time. So that was the big thing when I came in, that we'll just go one game at a time. I'm sure everyone wants to play finals football, and as a club like Rochedale, we have pretty high standards, but so do all the other clubs. So I think everyone would want to play in the semi-finals at the end of the season. It's something that I'm sure the club and the players probably spoke about at the start of the year. But at the moment, once we took over, we were bottom of the ladder with 3 points. So it was more just one game at a time and then just build the confidence with that.
How do you see the league this season? We've got the two Gold Coast teams at the top.
Yeah, they're Gold Coast Knights, I think, are the best team. They're very good. I think everyone's sort of can probably beat anyone apart from them. You know, I know they lost to Brisbane City the other day, but from what I've sort of seen, they're the best side in the comp. But Gold Coast United are good. Gray's doing really well there. Defensively, they've been excellent. Cam's done a great job at Moreton Bay. I think they're probably a bit of a surprise package this year. And then you've got Lions, who are always good year after year. Dodgy's done well at Brisbane City. But then, you know, you have a look at us on the weekend. Probably no one expected us to go out and get smacked by the Raw Youth. But even them, you know, they were flying on the weekend. They're good young players who are hungry, and Redlands have been a handful. So there's no real easy games.
How do you see the bottom of the ladder? I think it's pretty safe to say that the East are gone. But Olympic, do you think they can sneak their way out? They've got 7 points with 5 matches left.
Yeah, I suppose it'll depend on what happens around them too, with the other teams up above them. If they win their games and Olympic win their games, it doesn't really matter. So
yeah,
I think it's all going to depend on how everyone goes week in. So I think each week everyone will be looking at the ladder to see where they're sitting. But, you know, you have a look. Sunny Coast Wanderers had a good win last week, which gives them those extra 3 points breathing space. So that was a big win for them over Easts. And, tough one for Olympic last week. So I think we've got them in a couple of weeks as well. So that'll be a big game for us.
With your squad this season, Scott, you've got a lot of young talent there. Are you going to have struggles at the end of the season keeping them? Maybe not so much with other clubs in the NPL, but perhaps interstate, abroad? Is there any of the guys getting whispers?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, we lost Jackson Riley just a few weeks ago in the transfer window down to Melbourne, which, you know, was hard. We managed to, lucky enough to get in Jordan Holmes to sort of fill that role. But look, if young players get an opportunity, then that's awesome. Like, we don't really want to stand in anyone's way. You know, we'd think if they stay in Queensland, they'll stay with us. It is a good group. It's a good, tight-knit group. I think a lot of them are school friends as well. They sort of went to Cav Road together, a lot of the group too. So it is a really good group. And that was one thing that Ross did really well. He got a good young group of players come in. So, you know, a few ex-Rochedale juniors when they were there, you know, like Harry Talbot was a Rochedale junior and then managed to come back. But, hopefully we can hold on to them. You know, they're young boys. They're still learning. But then some of the senior players have done excellent for us as well. So it's been a good mix of youth and experience.
And I'm sure there's a few of the younger brigade that are knocking on the door as well, huh?
Yeah, we got some good kids coming through as well at the club. So that's what we sort of want. We want Rochedale players coming through. You know, at the moment, I think we've got 3 in sort of regulars in the first team squad, which I don't know if there'd be too many other teams in the competition that actually have. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but, you know, Liam MacArthur, Mitch Roberts and Jackson Rossi playing week in, week out. Well, Jacko's been injured, but it's good to have young Rochedale players in the squad.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. All right, thanks for that chat, Scott. I'll move on now to the NPLW. And we've got Mick Gallo, who's the coach at Peninsula Power there. G'day, Mick.
Hey, Darren. How you going?
Good. Now, we had to get you on the show this week after your massive result on the weekend with a big win over Lions.
Oh, definitely. I mean, for a team that's only lost 2 now in 70-odd games, they're the benchmark of football, not only in Queensland, but in NPL results and the record they've got. So, I mean, for us, it's only a small step, but it's a small step in the scheme of the season, but it's a massive step in the confidence of the players. Because we believe in what they're doing, but hopefully the players can start to believe a little.
And of course, you are the promoted team this season, and it looks like Alex did a great job last year building the squad up, and you've just kept that momentum going.
Oh, definitely. I came in last season to 23s and the senior assistant. I worked very closely with Alex, and the same principles. No principles have changed. We've kept the same methodology, the same principles. And of course, I'm a different coach to Alex. Changed a couple of things up, but I mean, we had a good core group, and then we've added some absolute quality around that group as well, and then some youth that have come up from the 23s from last season.
Are you surprised at how well Easts have done this season? I mean, there's only 4 points behind.
Yeah, not surprised at all. That squad's been together for some time, and they strengthened with the goalkeeping stocks. They got Hakana Tachenko back as well. So it's a seasoned squad, experience. So they're really set. That's where that sort of experience and understanding together, that's where sort of we're working towards at the moment. But yeah, they're a tough team.
Just let me know here, Mick, how many rounds have you got left in this competition?
So we've got 6 games to go. So 27 round season.
27 rounds. So you're playing each other 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
Okay, so still plenty to play for, but I would suggest that there's probably, if you're looking at maintaining your spot on the top 4, yeah?
Oh, look, definitely. Look, that's we set some team goals at the start of the year, and then we reassess and set the goals mid-season. It's as a team. I mean, when Alex went down to Melbourne, and I took over late November, my only goal was to get enough points to make sure, as a newly promoted team, we kept our program in the top league, and that I put a good foundation for Alex to come and slip back into when he came back. But the girls have performed fantastically, and it might be my opinion, but it's the best midfield in the comp.
So I was just about to ask you, what have been the keys to your success? So it's got to be the midfield, right?
Oh, look, it's the way we look at it. We're a team, and we had a fantastic defensive record last year, and if one makes a mistake or an incorrect decision, it's not that one player, it's us as a team that does it. And same thing, we score as a team, we defend as a team, and we win and lose as a team as well. So, but in saying that, we've got a fantastic midfield in Tish, Sarah Dapolonia, and Lainey McDougall.
So I'll just throw a controversial one in for you. Gold Coast United are in 4th. Mitchelton just 3 points behind. Can Mitchie get in the sneak in the top 4?
Oh, look, they've got the squad too. It's going to be very tough from where they're sitting now. I mean, we're kicking ourselves. The squad was very disappointed, dropping points to Mitch. They had one shot in the whole second, and there was a free kick in the 92nd minute. So, and it was a little bit of it was an incorrect decision, picked up a back pass, but things like that happen. Liz has been fantastic and saved us and points, the performances in goal. So, you know what? That's what I mean. We're a team. So one mistake, we will take responsibility for it.
Yeah. Now, I know you've got training on tonight, so I'll let you get back out there. But before you go, with the World Cup starting tomorrow, has the club been involved at all? I know you've got a function tomorrow night for the first game, but
yep.
Any involvement with your squad with the actual tournament itself?
Not at the moment. Lions played Nigeria, and I was thinking someone would share the love and allow us to, because we think we're thereabouts as well. But I mean, I've spoken. We were talking with the Brazilian squad, because I played for Brazil and stuff. So we've offered to, if they need, we can set up in their preparation to play an opposition. But yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. So hopefully, if any teams out there, we're more than happy to get the experience for our players too.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Thanks for the chat, Mick. I'll let you get back out there.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate it.
Good on you. Cheers. Now, Liam, you're with us tonight.
Yes. Hello. Sorry I was late.
It's probably time to introduce you, I think.
Yeah. It's what? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
It's probably time to introduce you.
Oh, yes. Introduce me. Everyone knows who I am.
Two guests in.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. Some good guests tonight. So you've certainly been working your magic on and off those Origin nights. So.
Oh, you betcha.
Well done.
Let's move now to the FQPL3 South Coast. We've got Ross Fenech. He's been in and out during this show, so I might get him while we've got him here.
Can you hear me, mate?
How you doing?
Yeah.
Good, mate. How are you?
All right. So, of course, you are the head coach at Kingscliff.
Yep.
In the FQPL3 South Coast men. You're currently 3rd on the ladder.
Yep.
Happy with that?
Mate, look, I'll put it this way: we've dropped points in 4 games, yet we're 7 points off top. It's just been an incredible year by, I think, the 3 of us out top, to be honest with you. And it's Southport are a really good side. They sit, as I said, they sit top. They're 5 points clear at the moment with 5 games to go. I think they've lost 1 game. It was against Robina. I think it was like round 2 or 3. So we're round 17 this week. So
yep.
I mean, look, sometimes you got to take your hats off to people, and they've every week they're finding a way of doing it. Which, to be honest, the top 3 all of us are trying to find a way to do it every single week. So, but mate, look, I mean, we've conceded 16 goals all year. I think we're in the top 6 or something in the pyramid defensive wise. I can't really complain if I'm dead honest with you. just wish we were up there, sort of thing, a bit higher, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's just a goal here and a goal there makes all the difference.
100%. I mean, we lost 1-0 to Southport at Southport, missed a penalty, and played against 10 men for half an hour. And I reckon if it was still there, we wouldn't have scored. So, but I mean, yeah, just little results like that, to be honest with you. You know, we beat Robina at home, but lost to Robina round 1 of the season. Just little things, and just stupid 1-1 draws against Burleigh and Palmy away, which have hurt us. And like I said, lost 2 games, drawn 2 games, and yeah, we sit 3rd and probably, you know, struggling to get up with Southport at the moment.
Yeah. Now, you've been at the club 3 years now, is that right?
3 years? I've been at the club for 10 years, mate.
But head coach, is that for 10?
I've been head coach for 10 years now, and we're 3 years in the QPL 3 now, but Premier League. So yeah, we had 7 years in Coast League, which is now the QPL 4, obviously, and now we're 3 years in the Premier League. So two fifth place finishes before that, and then obviously sit 3rd at the moment. So yeah.
Tell me how your team and the club's evolved in that time.
In the 10 years or the 3 years? The 10 years is unbelievable.
Your choice.
Mate, I could talk all night, so I don't know what. But the 10 years has been pretty incredible, to be honest, mate. I mean, I think I came over from Burleigh as a Reggie's coach, and we had like 3 players, and we just had to build it from there, really. And just over the course of it, I think I've spoke to you before about it. We've played seasons with no home ground and stuff like that, and the year we promoted, actually, we had no home ground, to be honest with you. So just little things like that, and then the past 3 years have just been really incredible, to be honest with you. I think I said when we got promoted to you, just the community jumped on board, all that sort of thing. It was really good. If anyone hasn't been to Kingscliff, it's quite a tight-knit, small community sort of thing. Just past the border, and obviously been through a lot of tough times with COVID and obviously the border and all that sort of stuff. A lot of people not being able to work, but yeah, it's just evolved extremely well. And then now it's just incredible. Every week we have players that want to play for us. I've got a player that comes from as far as Ormo north, and then the player that comes from Byron Bay south. So it's like we get them from everywhere, to be honest with you, and it's a really good place to be, and we're looking to do big things, obviously. So
are you finding now that the juniors are trying to push their way into the top team as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've always had a really good supply line, to be honest with you, with those kids. I mean, as I said, I've been there 10 years, so I've got a player that's 25 that was 15 when I first got there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he's our top goal scorer, so he's just hit 100 goals. 50 goals, sorry. It's not 100. I wish it was 100, but 50. But yeah, no, he's just little things like that, mate. I suppose when you're given the opportunity of being a head coach for this long, which not many men do, or women or anyone get that, you get to see wonderful things like that, and you definitely get to see the progression of players for such a long time. And it's you get to see kids come through from 11 onwards. I mean, I remember my first year, one of our players has a picture of him as an 11-year-old and me when I first sort of started, and now he's playing up front for us now. It's just those sorts of things, mate. It's pretty incredible. So
yeah. Did you have hair in the photo?
I did actually. Yeah. Yes, it was a year after my wedding, mate, and I had hair back then. 10 years at a football club, I reckon, as a head coach, you'll end up like me too, mate, to be honest with you. Lee will get there soon. Don't worry about that. That's it.
With the promotion and the ladder that we've got now, and you've seen Broadbeach doing their amazing things. Surfers Paradise doing their amazing things. Of course, Knights and Gold Coast United at the top of the league in the NPL. It's got to be inspiring for all these clubs in the South Coast, right?
Mate, I think it's. We used to cop a lot of it down here, sort of like, Gold Coast, Brisbane, and all that sort of stuff. But then the proof's in the pudding at the moment, mate. I think Gold Coast are on top of every single ladder they possibly can. So I think it's the 23s are led by Broadbeach and Surface as well. And in the NPL 23s, you just flip it, United's ahead of Knights. So it's first and second. So it's pretty incredible when you think about it. Any of those three tiers in the men's are all Gold Coast teams on top. Like we can't do anything more. Even Magic in QPL 2, I think they're like fourth now or something like that sort of thing. So yeah, I think there's a real belief in QPL 3 that not that you don't deserve it, you have to earn it, don't get me wrong, but I think there's at least, a lot of these clubs in QPL 3 that believe that we can definitely be in QPL 2 and beyond. Like for me, and I don't know, I haven't watched QPL 1 in a while, but there is no one that convinced me that Broadbeach can't go up there next year and be an NPL the year after. Not one person can convince me they can't do that. Like yeah. I just see them and they're just killing it and that sort of thing. And I think for us, a lot of us, Southport, I know Rabina, the Galacticos, they think they can do whatever. I know us, especially us. I mean, if anyone should be worried about travel and stuff, it should be us. But we want to be in QPL 2. We want to be in that 36 bracket up there sort of thing. And I can tell you now, Palmy would be the same. Burley will be the same. Musco will be the same. There's a lots of us that believe that we can get there. It's going to take time because we have to go through a playoff apparently, and leaders go straight up. So it's all good.
Have you got a theory on why the clubs are so strong?
It's a good question, to be honest with you. I just think I think it's a good place to be. I just think Gold Coast is a lovely place to live, whether you're an import or local sort of thing. I mean, I know since COVID, we've had a lot of people move from Melbourne and Sydney into the Gold Coast area, that sort of thing. I mean, look, if we go through it, Knights are just a juggernaut, right? So they get players from everywhere, right? But even United, I don't think anyone thought United was going to be this strong this year. I think they've conceded like 12 goals or something like that in this. Don't get me wrong, they've only scored like 22 goals, but they've conceded like 12 goals, right? They're in. Yeah. It's just nuts. I don't think it was there. But Surface, they had a slow start, obviously, but then they got into gear and Broadbeach. But I just think we're attracting players, and I think people want to play for teams on the Gold Coast. Don't get me wrong, especially those other higher clubs. The money's there, and people are getting paid good money and stuff like that, and that sort of thing. But I mean, I just think, yeah, it's a good place to be. But I suppose that's the other thing is that once we do, and I say once, I truly believe once we do all start getting promoted and getting up in those guys, is what happens to our QPL 3 and what happens to our QPL 4 from there. I mean, with Broadbeach with Brisbane, with there's so many teams and stuff like that, you're still going to have a lot of teams where unless if we do go up, like a few of us, unless we start getting relegated, it's going to be, I don't know how that dynamic is going to work below, to be honest with you. And I know I'm talking in like 5, 6, 7, 8 years time, but it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves and that sort of thing. Because I mean, we don't have QPL 6, for example, obviously, like we don't have that sort of thing. So
yeah. I might throw Lee Walker from Bayside and Scott back in the discussion here. Are we overplaying this? I mean, Coomera got relegated last season and came back down. Is the Gold Coast where it's at?
I mean, I'll take a little bit of a go at this. I mean, when I first moved to this country, I actually played on the coast, and the standard difference between the coast and Brisbane, even 6 years ago, you could see the difference. And you could argue, should there be those playoff spots? Because arguably the teams in the FQPL 3 South Coast are strong. I mean, we played Kingscliff in pre-season, 0-0 draw, and you could see that the quality was there. I've seen a lot of the Gold Coast football over sort of the past few years. You can see there's quite clear quality there that I guess it's because you've got less clubs and probably just as many people that play compared to, the likes of us, for example. We're competing with Wolves, Capalaba, Southside Eagles, Redlands. Like, we've got 6, 7, 8 clubs within 20 kilometres of us.
Yeah, I think that's true out here in the West too. Out at Ipswich, you've got a number of clubs as well that seems to, because we've had this discussion after games, just over a few beers over the years, and there's just so many clubs there now where it just gets very diluted, and it is the western suburbs, so it is a growing area, especially with in and around Springfield United, but the older clubs like Bulls, their areas, like Ipswich City Bulls, their areas pretty much is what it is. I think the Gold Coast also has that transient kind of population as well, where you get a lot of expats that kind of come and go, and I think especially evident with Surfers Paradise, just listening and talking to him after games. There's a very big English population within that team. So I think Gold Coast it's definitely got that area where you have more people that are more attracted to the coast, and so you kind of get those players that are attracted to the coast.
Scott, do you have a theory?
No, not really. I think, again, good people running the clubs as well down there and investing in the clubs too. Like, obviously, financially, I know Gold Coast Knights have got a good budget in there, and they're attracting good players as well. And players want to play with good players too. So players aren't afraid to travel these days as well. So you might have players from Brisbane that'll travel down to the Gold Coast, but there are players from the Gold Coast travelling up to Brisbane too. So, no, I think they've done really well. Coast has been awesome. I think it's good. When I was growing up, Palm Beach were excellent in the old Forex League. So I think it's really good to see.
I think the issue we might have later down the track, and it's just something that we talk about as coaches sometimes, is how patient players might be. So as you know, we have to play in a playoff, right? So we potentially only have one team that can go up each year. Now, that's life, that's fine, that's no problem. But some players, we might get the talent sucked out when, like you just said, players will go up to Brisbane these days. Players will start to travel and do whatever they've got to do. So it's, can we keep those players, those good quality players, for long enough to get those clubs promoted without them saying, hey, I don't really want to play QPL 3 again, get through that. I might go and move on to QPL 2 or QPL 1 and stuff like that. And I think that might be sort of a little issue that we might come across down the track. But I suppose that's the same for everyone, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the stat on the amount of time that players spend at each club. Just thinking off the top of my head, I would suggest that players at the Gold Coast clubs would stay at their club longer, and there'd be a little bit more club hopping in Brisbane. I wonder if that would have an impact as well.
Look, I think, excuse me, I think we find a lot of people club hop. So, I mean, you're probably right. Don't get me wrong. You're probably dead right. There's Gold Coast people that, I know with us, I've got a very, especially the area sort of thing, they're quite loyal. I've had players for a very long time sort of thing. I know Palm Beach had a massive turnover this year just through Brett going to Magic and a few other things. And obviously Rabina are doing it pretty much every year at the moment. I know Steve at Southport, they're pretty settled and stuff like that. But yeah, we actually find that a lot of people do club hop, but I can only imagine in Brisbane it's just like.
I think it's terrible. I've spoken about this before, especially with the women's game. It happens in the men's game, of course it does. I mean, it's happened to my own club as well. With where a coach is either fired or let go or moves, and you find that some of your good players from that squad go across to them, and then the under 23s as well go with them, and some of the juniors go across with them. Happened with Western Pride over to Capalaba. I mean, that at the end of the day, it's football, and that's what happens. But yeah, you tend to have people that go, that if a coach goes, all the players go with them, and you know, it's. I mean, I think during just during this past week, just going to what you were saying there, Darren, about some players, is that I think Mitchell Bird, he's now the outright record holder at Western Pride. I know he's been going to a few games now. He's a couple of goals off, also getting the record as well for most goals, and so most goals, most appearances. But looking down from him downward, I think you would probably count on one hand, maybe less one hand, those players that have got close to 50 appearances for the club. There's just such a big gap there now with the players that are there now. Some may not have 20 or 30, you know. So it's, you know, so there is a lot of turnover. There's a lot of people coming and going with coaches, you know. So contracts really don't mean anything. But if you ask me, I mean, you got people signing contracts and that, but you know, they're very quick to leave.
Interesting stuff. All right, Lee, it's time. Let's talk Bayside United.
Where do you want to start?
Let's talk about the Australia Cup game where I saw you at the beginning of the season. You got done by New Farm United. And you said, I don't care about the cup. It's all about the league for me. I thought, yeah, that's big talk. But you've walked the walk, and here you are, top of the ladder, 17 matches, 41 points, 8 points in front. What a season.
Yeah, I mean, people keep saying that, but I can honestly say I could count on less than one hand how many games I feel we've actually played well. It sounds ridiculous, but you know, to win a league and stuff, it takes obviously getting through games, doesn't it? And we've done that far too many times this season. You know, we started the season pretty rough with the game against Mount Gravatt on the Hobback field, which isn't the greatest field.
Not great. Definitely not great.
Definitely not great. And you know, when we played that and we drew against them, we thought it could be a long season, this, but you know, we got working again. And yeah, I guess yeah, we've pulled some results out of the bag. And you know, we've got to where we are with a lot of hard work and determination, really. But we slipped up a little bit, not the weekend just gone, weekend before with North Brisbane. Yeah, that was.
Who's joined you there, Lee?
Got my dog. He's just come over.
Who's that?
Talking. Woke him up.
All right. So Pine Hills Centenary Stormers. The Stormers got off to a great start, but they just seem to have petered out as the season's progressed. And Virginia seemed to be. It feels like they've found their place in the league now.
Yeah, it's you know, it's been one of them seasons. You honestly couldn't pick where anyone was going to finish in the league. You know, you definitely at the start of the season wouldn't have put Centenary up there. But the boys up there are doing a really good job in keeping themselves up that top 4 area now. And you know, there's you go to every single game and you don't expect to go like an easy game at all. It's like, even we played Western Spirit twice this year and struggled both times against them. And like, whereas obviously games against like Virginia and Pine Hills, we had 2 very good games with them. So yeah, honestly, you can't walk into it and think you're just going to walk it. And I think that's what people thought we would do this year, but no, it's not about that at all. But yeah, all eyes are on getting that promotion spot and challenging QPL2 next year.
So are the committee talking FQPL2 already?
Yeah, 100%. You know, we've been planning for it. That's the whole intention. But yeah, again, we've still got 5 more games to go. We've got to still do the business. I know we're ahead, but I'm not stopping till that trophy's done.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to think about it, but I'm sure the committee do. Are you aware if there's anything that the club needs to do to get itself up to scratch to go to that next level?
I believe they're looking at the floodlights currently. I believe that's the only major thing. Other than that, obviously the ongoing build at the club, which is getting there. I think roof's due to go on the new changing rooms and stuff in the next couple of weeks. And then obviously we've got the the summer sixes program coming in before we obviously close the fields down over the off season to get them up to scratch. So a lot of work's been put in by the committee, and yeah, definitely feel the club's getting a bit more of a community feel to it now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got the dual role like Scott. I look after the juniors as well, so it's a challenging role. But yeah, we're definitely seeing the rewards for the hard work that we've put in this year.
With Pine Hills, I mean, in this competition, we see them as the favourites every season. What do you think has gone not quite right for them? I mean, they're still in second place, but where have they?
It's probably the fact that Leo's holidaying up in Greece right now. That's probably what it is. No, he's I don't know. Like, I guess every year you sort of always think Pine Hills is going to be there and thereabouts. We know that. We know it last year. We do it this year. And, we had a really scrappy game with them at their place, which, it could have gone either way. I think halfway through the game, me and Leo were stood next to each other just talking because it was such a scrappy stop-start game that there was no rhythm to it at all. And we ran out that 1-0. And then when they came to our place, we kind of, we turned it on that night. But I think it's consistency for them. They don't seem to have had a consistent lineup throughout the season. They seem to have been players away with work, or I guess that's probably the reason. But yeah, they've turned it back on in the past couple of weeks, and they're starting to show a little bit more. So yeah, I think they're starting to push for that playoff spot.
Yeah. All right. I think that is all that we're going to discuss about the leagues. I think in future weeks, we're just going to focus on the leagues of the ones that we have the coaches on. Lliam, unless there's any other competitions that you want to bring up and have a chat about.
No, I think things are starting to pretty much even out at the moment through all the leagues. I think probably with FQPL 1, I think anywhere from 4th down about 8th, I think is, or maybe 9th. There's so many games. There's so many positional changes that can still come with that, So I think Mitchie are probably on their way down, and it's good to see Toowoomba having a bit of a revival there. So it's pretty much the first. I think the top 3 is pretty much set in stone, but anywhere from 4th down, strikers down, and that it's still on for anyone really there to try and get that finals position.
Yeah. Speaking of Toowoomba, just in their competition, they have a President's Cup. When after the first round, the top 2 teams qualified for the President's Cup. They played those matches on the weekend, and the FQPL 3 St Albans had a win. In the division below, Warwick Wolves had a win, and Willowburn had a win in women. Always interesting to bring up. I love the concept of that President's Cup. I think that's a really good idea. I'll just quickly have a chat about this in the sunny coast. Caloundra are currently on top of the league over Woombye, who have a game in hand. It's a real ding-dong competition. I've been trying to get some coaches from that league on the show. Hopefully next week we can get that happening. All right. Now, before we wrap up the show, just want to talk about, there's the tipping for the World Cup starting tomorrow. You've got until tomorrow, 5 o'clock to register for that. Get yourself in. There's a lot of great prizes there from KPI. $300 KPI credit for first prize. And we're going to do a random draw. So just being in it, you've got a chance to win $100 worth of KPI credit. So get a few balls with that, couldn't you?
Yes, the balls.
Ross, Kingscliff and the World Cup. Is there any connection for you guys?
Well, we Jess Austin, she works for FQ. She's a massive part of our club. So she's with the ladies sort of thing. So she's part of all that sort of stuff. Our girls actually play for the Ivy Louis Cup against Palm Beach every year, to be honest with you. So that'll be all right. So we've got a watch party tomorrow night after the boys' training. We'll finish early, but yeah, we've got a few things happening at the club for that first game. And then, yeah, we'll just whenever we can. I know I'm off to England versus Haiti on Saturday. So we play Friday night this week. So, yeah, we're off to England versus Haiti on Saturday. So that should be good. Hopefully it's not too much of a drubbing, but it'll be all right. Hopefully it's a decent game of football. But, yeah, no, I think it's really exciting. I think it's really exciting for football and obviously in our country. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think it's the girls put on a show, and look, I hope the girls can get it done, to be honest with you. But it's, I think, what was it, public holiday if we won or something? They said, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll declare it.
We'll declare it. Yeah, but yeah. No, I just good luck to them. I just hope people don't put too much pressure on them, because sometimes that's what kills it, to be honest. So
I think they'll. Well, I'm heading down to Sydney tomorrow morning for the game. I got heading down to Melbourne for the Canada game, and
wow.
Yeah, so I've got tickets everywhere. So I'm all in, and hence my Matilda active scarf here. Shout out to the Matilda's active crews. Yeah, it's going to be and just England Haiti as well. I think that's going to be a good game. I hope the English really get involved there in the crowd and start, give us a good atmosphere there. So I think it's the game needs is that atmosphere, just to show the rest of the other codes, that we do it better when it comes to crowds. So, but we'll see what happens. But no,
you're so hardcore, Liam.
No, I can't.
You can
I
see
can't
him
take
with
my drum down to Sydney. They won't let me. But
you can see you with your shirt off with a drum, mate, for sure. Surely, shirt off, drum, bang it out, some form of waltz in Matilda. You'll love it.
No.
What about you, Lee? Is there any legacy happening for Bayside?
I know that the club's hosting the viewing party tomorrow night. We've got the world famous pizza oven going, and obviously we're training tomorrow night, so we'll probably all head in there and have a beer or whatever and have a little watch. I think the women played last night, so they'll be down watching, I think. And obviously myself, I'm rooting for good old England, so we'll see how they get on this tournament.
Massive chance, mate. They could be coming home.
Got to come home at some stage, hasn't it?
Well, eventually. Just who knows when, mate? Who knows when?
Well, they had a few stumbles leading into the World Cup. So I mean, if you call one or two losses in what was it, 33 games or something ridiculous like that, then if you call that a stumble, then I suppose you're a bit of a fool. But you never know. It's maybe they peaked too early. Maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there is a few players out. So
here we go already.
A few retirements. But no, they've got some good talent there. Obviously, they've been up at the sunny coast, and they were at Brisbane City yesterday. So, yeah,
it is great.
Anyway, it's good to see all the women here, and it's good to see that they're getting a bit of attention on the news, and it's good to see that them turning up to a few clubs, and it's good. Be good competition.
What about Rochedale, Scott? The club's finally got a women's team this year after many years without. Is the club embracing the World Cup?
Yeah, we actually had the Irish come and train at the club. So they did a couple of sessions there, and we had the Colombians as well. So they came and used our place last week for a training base. So it was really good. We got to watched a couple of their sessions and, had a bit of a chat with them. So they were really good. So they actually played each other last Friday night, though, and that was that game that got abandoned. So, hopefully it's a good World Cup, and hopefully the Aussie girls can do well.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Now, before we wrap up the show, Ross,
Hello,
I've been
mate.
asked to ask you a question about a president's meeting last week.
Yeah, no, mate. It wasn't even that. It was just a private conversation that apparently I'm talking about on a podcast now. But
That's what
I
we
don't know
love.
what's going on. That's news to me. I don't know.
all it was is there's a bit of a rumor going around that teams might knock back promotion, which obviously after the conversation that we've just had is not great. Obviously, that sort of thing. So I just think it's just that it's a choice is incredible to start off with, to be honest with you. But that's another thing. But I just think it's so important, especially like we spoke about already. I think it's so important that we do move on and we do, the teams win things. They've got to go and go up to certain things. I know it's all money. I understand that. I'm not silly under that, but you plan that as part of the pyramid, I suppose. If not, then church league should go. Plain and simple. That's just the way it is. So if I get any more into it, I'll probably start. I'm quite passionate on this. Darren knows how passionate I am in general, but yeah, I think
Push the button. Push the
Darren
button.
yeah,
Push the button.
Anytime you can unleash anything that would cause any sort of fiasco within the platform,
Yeah,
like, let it roll.
Yeah,
Who cares for the consequences? I love it.
If it to grow the game, especially on the Gold Coast, and I think it's really important that that these things happen. Otherwise, when we're arguing about no playoffs and straight promotion or that sort of thing, we just get laughed at in the end, and then that sort of thing. But yeah, so look, I've had since Darren our text messages, I have had some good news, I think. So we'll see how it goes.
There we go. There we go.
Still 5 rounds.
Situation's resolved.
There's still 5 rounds left, mate. So you never know.
We'll see what happens.
Lee, out of curiosity, while we're here, is there any clubs that don't want to go up? Like, not being funny, I'm just asking a question. Like, is there any clubs that are happy where they are?
If I'm honest, I don't actually have a clue. I wouldn't know from up here. I still find it weird that teams were kind of selected to go FQPL2 anyway.
Well, yeah, that's a different.
It's going to take a few years for it to generally even itself out, because I was looking at. I watched a couple of the highlights of FQPL2 games the other day, and I kind of thought to myself, there's not many teams in that league that would compete at our league.
Yeah,
which I'm not talking like big headedness there. I'm saying there's teams in our league that would compete in that league. So
you're just telling the truth, mate. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
It is what it is. Like, I look at it. I think we could go in there and easily do what Broadbeach or St George. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're proof in the pudding. But they've both got promoted last year and both gone up there and done very well. So,
yeah, I think that's the frustrating with us. It's just that it's going to take so long to I don't know what the right way of putting it is, just to work itself out. Do you know what I mean? Like, work itself out and stuff like that. I think for you guys it's probably different because the travel's not a big deal, right? Like, it's just for us. You know what I mean? That's the conversations down here. Is like, is it worth the travel? How many are you going to get when you're at home? Like, how many is Kingscliff going to get when we play Sanford Rangers at Kingscliff? Just an example, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, financially, is it
yeah.
worth it?
Correct. I suppose that's the conversation clubs are having here. But I think what we have to, especially on the Gold Coast, is wrap our heads around is that eventually QPL2, and people might agree, they don't agree, that's fine, it's all good. We might have 5 or 6 Gold Coast teams in QPL2, for example, right? And it's mathematically, it can happen. It's fine. It might happen, which means you're only going to Brisbane like 6 times or 7 times or 8 times. Let's just say it's 4. It's got to go. It's got to do that. Someone's got to go for.
The other query you got to look at is, say you've got 2 Gold Coast teams get relegated from FQPL2.
Correct.
How does it even out then?
Yeah, well, I don't know, mate.
Or 2 Brisbane teams get relegated. How do you then promote 2 Brisbane? Like, I don't understand how it works.
Oh no, Maroochydore last, aren't they? So it
Yeah.
won't happen.
So there's a Sunshine Coast team dropped out, and
Yeah.
potential of
Brisbane got-
whoever wins the. I don't understand how the playoffs work this year. I don't know if it's Darling Downs, Sunshine Coast,
Yeah.
Gold Coast, Brisbane.
Second Brisbane, first Gold Coast, first Toowoomba, first Sunny Coast.
But like, I don't understand why.
You don't have to worry about that, mate. You're already like 10 ahead or
But
something.
I still don't understand why it's second Brisbane.
You start
like-
playing for QPR 1, mate. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
All right, folks, we might leave the show there. Thank you to all my guests tonight. Thank you for joining us as well, Liam. Good. Enjoy the World Cup, guys, and we will be back with the show next week. Don't desert us just because of the World Cup. We will keep going with this show. All right, this has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show. See you next week.